Once again, welcome into the Starcastic Remarks Studios. I am Ryan. This is Starcastic Remarks, the official Dallas Stars podcast of the Hockey Podcast Network. And this is the AGR for game number 22 against the Phoenix Coyotes. Stars get the win tonight with a final score of 4-1 in Loui Eriksson's 1,000th career game, 501, which he spent with the Dallas Stars. And with that, we're going to go ahead and bring in Chris and James. Hey, guys. How are y'all doing?
GG, boys.
Yeah,
Call it 7.
Before we get any further, I actually forgot. Make sure you use the promo code THPN next time you go and use the DraftKings app. Lets them know that we're the ones that sent you. And, we really do appreciate them supporting us and supporting the networks and everything that we do. We get to do this sort of stuff for free and a little bit on the side as well. So it's very nice for that. Anyways, guys, what did y'all think overall for this game tonight? Good, bad, ugly, yes?
I thought it was a great third period, and I thought the other two were okay. And against the Coyotes, that's all you need.
It's a very hockey game to watch. It's very entertaining for the most part, from a skill standpoint for me.
Yeah, I didn't like the first two periods. I was pretty bored in the first two periods.
Well, I like defensive play, so I'm weird.
There wasn't a lot of defense in that second period. There was a lot of giveaways, is what there was.
That's true, but the first period
it looked like an
nice.
ECHL game out there during the second period.
Yeah, no wonder. It's a good thing you like the Stars, James, if you like defensive play, right? So,
yeah, you chose the right team.
It's their fault. I think it's their fault I like defensive play.
No. He was born into the correct family, Chris, and he lives in the right area. That's what it has to be.
He doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, he has no choice. Anyways, guys, lots of good things to come out of this game. Even though the game was boring, that's the perfect word for it. Through two periods. The
first two periods were boring. Third period was great. Loved it.
The third period was fun to watch. It was much more fun to watch, and from both standpoints, because both teams were starting to get a little bit more chances through. My original thought from this game is the fact that Andrew. Alexander. Sorry, I have a kid named Andrew in my school who's anyways. Sorry, it's late. I'm tired. It's been a day, guys. And anyway, Alexander Radulov has been fantastic over the past couple of games, and tonight he was arguably one of the best Dallas Stars on the ice. What did y'all think about the play of Alexander Radulov tonight?
Absolutely agree. 2 assists, 2 primary assists, both off the backhand pass, which were great. Both really good. They made the plays is what both assists did. And then his defensive play, still, like we've been talking about pretty much since the win streak started, his defensive play is the best that he's done as a Star, honestly. Like the back checks that he had one guy try and do wraparound all the way around the net. He kept up with him perfectly, kept an arm on him the whole time. Great defensive play. Radulov has looked really good. Unfortunately, he just hasn't put up enough points to pay for his contract, but hopefully this is the start of it.
What did y'all think about that line tonight? Radulov, Ben, and who was the third guy on that line? I forgot. Peterson, right, duh. That line looked pretty good tonight, and they get, 75% of the offense tonight. Is that a line that you keep together for the next game, assuming Raffle comes back, and then throw Raffle in the bottom 6, or what do y'all think?
Well, this was the line last game too. I mean, Peterson was on that second unit after they shook things up, and I definitely thought it should have stayed together, and looks like I'm right. So, yes, absolutely it should stay together. And, yeah, I think we found the second line. It should be solidified at this point.
Definitely like that second line. It's very good. Let's go ahead and get into some of the scoring summary for this game, guys. Unfortunately, no goal in the first 75 seconds, so that didn't happen. But
let's talk about that real quick. That's ridiculous from the Stars. I mean, honestly, it takes us that long to score a goal. Unbelievable.
It took a whole 15 minutes almost.
We need to pull. If you're a season ticket holder, pull your season tickets. We're going to boycott games from now until we score another one within the first 75 seconds, because how are we expected to win games when we don't score in the first 75 seconds of the period? It's absolutely unbelievable. It's unacceptable. Every player should be fired.
Which players should stay, Christian? Which
None
players?
of them. All of them are fired.
Even Ottinger?
Even Ottinger, especially Ottinger.
He wasn't even in the game tonight.
Yeah, he was. He was on the bench. You should have pepped him up and got him going.
Ottinger, it's all your fault.
Unbelievable. It's all Ottinger's fault. Send him back to the AHL. I guess we'll talk about that in a little bit, huh?
Yeah, we'll get there tonight too. Yeah, that's a big thing we'll talk about. Anyways, the Minutemen, it takes them 15 minutes tonight.
The 15-minute men.
13 minutes and 48 seconds to be exact, but close enough. Rope Hintz
That's too
gets
long.
his 11th goal of the season from none other than Jason Robertson. It wasn't like a great shot, and it probably would have been savable, but who cares? Rope Hintz gets his 11th goal in 11 games.
It was a good play. It was past the slot.
It was a great play, but what I'm saying is that it was probably a savable shot, I would think.
And Hintz should have made a better shot too, but, it went in.
Yeah, but anyway, let's go on a tangent on Rope Hintz again, because it seems like every game we have to talk about this guy just because of he has been the most elite forward since November 10th for the Dallas Stars. And this is exactly what we were expecting from him at the beginning of the season. It just took a little longer than we expected, but now he has 11 goals in 22 games, and it looks like he could very easily eclipse the 30-goal mark this season if he continues the way that he does. Does he get to 30 goals?
Oh, he's definitely going to get 30 goals at least. My question is 40 goals.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first 11 games of the season, he had 0 goals. The next 11 goals of the season, he has had 11 goals. That's
you
crazy.
Mean the next 11 games?
Yeah, the next 11 games, he's had 11 goals.
Yeah. But
James knew what I was saying. I'm talking to James.
I mean,
we all knew what you were saying.
I said it on the last podcast, but if he had been scoring at this pace from the first game, he's top of the league in goals.
He's Rocket Richard.
Yeah, no joke. You're right. You're going for the Rocket Richard Trophy, which is the leading goal scorer of the NHL. And I mean, I don't expect him to keep this pace up. If he does, great. 11 goals in 11 games. I don't see. Other than if you're Alexander Ovechkin at 37 years of age or Connor McDavid at 25, but it's great to see this. I hope he keeps this tear. I just don't. I don't know if he's gonna keep this kind of a pace. Can he keep this kind of a pace? Maybe not as extreme, but
yes,
maybe somewhere in between.
I think if he keeps playing like he is now, he's going to get to 50. So,
here's what I think. I definitely think 30 goals is doable for Rope Hintz at this current rate. Yeah, exactly. At this current rate, it's already done. 40 goals, I think he probably could get there. 50 may be a little bit of a stretch for me. It's probably a little bit of a stretch.
No.
James, what do you think? 50 goals?
I'm thinking like high 40s. I'm thinking like 48, 49. But it would be awesome to see the 50 on there.
I think that would be the Stars' first 50-goal scorer since Mike Modano in 96, 97, I think. Something like that.
I didn't know
that. He got exactly 50. Exactly 50. So, and I don't think anybody scored 50 since. So, he would be the first one to make it there. And, I mean, if anybody makes it there, it's going to be Rope Hintz. It's not going to be Ben or Pavelski or even Robov. So, it'll be Hintz. He is the most dynamic player on this Dallas Stars team right now, offensively especially. But anyway, for let's just talk about the whole first period in general. Absolutely boring, right? Nothing to write home about.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a decent period by the Stars. It's a good road period, but unfortunately we were at home. So I wish we did a little bit better than that. But we kept their chances to a minimum. We had a decent amount of chances. We scored the goal. It's a fine first period.
Yeah. I like it. Like I said before, it's a defensive period. It's to me, it's like how people like NASCAR. They just drive around in circles over and over again.
They're making another left turn.
Yeah, like just more and more defensive plays. It was really fun to see for me.
Random thought for the night. Can you imagine Daryl Razor Ray commenting on NASCAR driving? Coming up with just some random adjectives.
It'd be a little bit more exciting, hopefully.
Yeah.
It would be very exciting, especially with Razor. Anyways, I thought the first period was okay. I didn't really like the way that they played. Now, you talked about it was a perfect road period, Chris.
Yeah.
The benefit of this is that we're going on the road. Great.
Well.
There we go. Okay, so but still, you're at home. You're on a 7-game win streak. I would have liked to see a little bit more from them in the first period, but you know what? Who cares? We go into the first intermission with a 1-0 lead. Very early on into the second period, Shane Gothisbeer, they know him as Ghost over in Arizona. The former Philadelphia
awesome
Flyer
nickname.
gets his 4th of the year from Clayton Keller and Phil Kessel, and that was a beautiful play by him. It was almost
sick.
an individual effort. The dangle on Jason Robertson and then the put away. It was absolutely fantastic from Ghost.
Yeah, it was good. When I saw it, I went, ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, there's different kinds of like reactions to good plays. There's the your reaction like that, and then the other reaction I'm thinking of is like the Holtby trio of saves. Like, holy freaking crap, how did he do that? How did he do that? And then that reaction to that was like, ooh, oh, okay, that was a good, oh crap, that's in the back of our net. So anyways, good play by Shane Gothisbeer. And then, again, there's not really much to talk about in the second period until we get to the end. After we go through the goal summary, we'll talk about some of the stuff. But generally, overall, I thought it was a better period from the Stars, but I still felt like, and I put this on Twitter, I still felt like the Coyotes were the better team in the second period.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was better in the second period. I thought it was, if anything, it was a little bit worse. But there's just a lot of turnovers. I felt like we had no pressure in that period. It was just blah.
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 I guess that's a really good word to use to describe the first two periods. Okay. Going into the third period, about 5-6 minutes in, looks like Jacob Peterson gets a goal, but
No.
If I've ever
No,
seen
clearly
it, it's a wrong sport, Peterson. That's soccer.
soccer.
It was very clearly a kicking motion, but it was still cool, right?
A windmill bit
Yeah, it was
while
kinda
laying
cool.
sideways.
I mean, he should
But-
have scored off at the first chance. I mean, it was on his tape, and he was at the top of the crease. Like,
Yeah,
let's
that's
put
like-
it in the net.
That's the
And
safest
he
spot,
buries
too.
the exact same shot
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
couple minutes. Go ahead,
Oh.
Ryan.
right. And then exactly, Chris is setting me up nicely here. Jacob Peterson actually gets the goal this time.
With
his
his stick.
4th with his stick,
His
not
favorite
kicking
spot.
it. His 4th of the season from Radulov, who finally gets another point. We haven't really seen him on the score sheet a lot lately. And Jamie Benn gets an assist on the Jacob Peterson goal. And it was a good goal. It was a goal that we kind of expected. We needed something a little bit more greasy, not necessarily, pretty. I guess is the word I would use because obviously with the way the game was going with all the turnovers and the fact that the Stars weren't really fully skating to their potential, it was a good goal to get.
Yeah, it was crash the net time. And the Stars had good pressure in the third period up until that point too, and they were doing the right things, like you said. We were just getting in the zone, getting pucks on net, because at this point of the game we did not have enough shots on Wedgwood, and it is good. I don't know if it was by coaching or just the players, but it was good to see them start shooting more in the third period because that's exactly what they needed. And they shot more. They crashed the net. They found a couple pieces of twine.
And I really do think that, Bonus went in there and said something because Brian Ray made a good point during the second intermission. It was like they only had 15 shots in 2 periods on a subpar goaltender. I mean, Wedgwood has been good for the Arizona Coyotes, but, this is not like an Andre Vasilevsky or a Connor Hellebuck or anything like that. This is a guy who was claimed off of waivers, and he just happens to be playing really well for a really rough Arizona Coyotes team.
It was obvious that we had to start shooting, and we did it well. I mean, we put the pressure on, we turned it on like a good team should against a bad team, and we put them away like we needed to. But let's go ahead and finish the goal summary before I get into
Go
it.
off on tangents. Yep. We'll finish it up real quick. We'll just say both at the same time because they were very similar. Jamie Benn gets his 6th of the year at 15-14 of the third period from Gurianov. So Gurianov
power
gets
play.
on the score sheet, and that's a very good point as well, Chris. It's on the power play, And Ryan Suter very quietly is, racking up assists and points for us like we were hoping he would. He gets his 10th assist of the year.
He has so many
And-
secondary assists. It's crazy. Like
Yeah.
almost all of them are secondaries.
Hey, I don't really care. Do you make a big, stank about primary assists and secondary assists? Because some people do.
No, I mean I don't notice secondary assists as much. So like in the back of my mind, like there's the point totals, which are not true at all, but it's what I feel the point totals are. And for the point totals, I feel like Suter is definitely not number 5, but he is on the team. So
Well, at least it means good things are happening around him when he's on the ice.
yes,
Right? Is that fair to say?
That's why I'm saying I don't think there should be a big delineation for it, because he's obviously putting the puck in the right direction to make the play happen. So that's why secondary assists count as points anyway, because there's definitely at least some hockey sense that goes into where you should be putting the puck. So no, it doesn't matter.
And then we'll just go ahead and mention the last one too. Jamie Benn gets his 2nd of the game, 7th of the year from Alexander Radulov. Alexander Radulov gets his 2nd assist, and that Peterson-Radulov-Benn line goes off in the 3rd period and allows the Stars to get a 4-1 lead. I mean, albeit late, but still, it's nice to see a different line get a majority of the offense tonight, other than just the Robo-Ruski line, as Razor put it.
Nope, Minutemen. But that's exactly what we were
I agree.
talking
That's
about.
just what he put it. That's just how he said it.
But that's exactly what we were talking about at the last podcast too, is that to get the win streak to become more consistent and us to extend the win streak, it's going to take more than that line. And somebody's going to have to step up eventually. And that is what happened today. I mean, the Minutemen only got the 1 goal. It was a good goal, but for the rest of the game, they weren't able to bury one. They still had good pressure and stuff, and I think they were still the best line for the Stars, but they weren't able to bury it. But this line steps up. They had the best 3rd period by far for the Stars, and they found a way to put points on the board, and they get us the win. It wasn't the Minutemen tonight, and we're gonna need more of that to keep it going even further throughout the season, into the playoffs, onto the Stanley Cup.
So if the first line is
Don't
the Minutemen,
don't count the chickens until they hatch, Chris. We got to get there first.
We're 2nd in the
Hey,
division. I'm definitely not counting them.
Oh well, no. Here's the funny thing. We were outside of the playoffs before this game started. We were outside
Oh, we were? I
the
didn't even
playoffs.
realize that.
Yeah, but yeah, because we hadn't played in 3 days,
That's
right?
hilarious.
So all the teams around it. This Central Division they may not necessarily have the best teams, but it is by far the most competitive division.
Well, that's exactly what we said was going to happen. We were like, we're not going to have the highest point totals in the league, but they're going to be the closest, and that's exactly what's happening. So we're geniuses.
Sorry, James, we cut you off before you were about to say something.
okay, so I was gonna say, if the first line is the Minutemen, is the second line the 50 Minutemen? Because they only scored in the last 10 minutes.
That's a little bit of a stretch. That's
Close
like dad.
enough.
That's like dad joke area, James.
That's the point.
Chris is just like sitting there, just like very, very slowly shaking his head back and forth to where you can't even see it. But, anyways, guys,
Funny.
the Stars end the night with a final score of 4-1 as Chris continues to sigh and shake his head in disgust at James at the joke he just made. But anyways, 3 stars of the game for the Stars tonight. Jacob Peterson gets the first star of the game for opening up the scoring in the 3rd period. Jamie Benn with 2 goals and an assist tonight, I believe. Yep, that's correct. Gets the 2nd star, and Braden Holtby, who was very quietly really good tonight. He was very good, and he gets the 3rd star in tonight's game. He only had to make 18 saves on 19 shots, but still, he was when he was asked to make a save, he was. So
he
good,
made some
him.
big ones too. He made not a lot. He made like 1 or 2 big ones, but still, yeah, he had a good game still. I mean, you definitely have a good game when your save percentage is .947. So,
yep. So this is a good segue to get into this. Okay, really interesting news coming out of the Stars camp today on Twitter this morning. I saw it and I was just like, uh-oh. And I don't know if this is I don't know if it's a
uh-oh.
let me explain. it might be a good or a bad depending on how you look at the Stars net right now. So Ben Bishop, who we all know has not played an NHL game since the bubble playoffs in 2020
2.5
up in
years.
Edmonton. It's been a while now.
Not 2.5 years.
Year and a half, roughly. A little more than a year and a half. He gets sent down to the AHL for a conditioning stint, which begins on Wednesday. And so Ben Bishop will be playing for the Texas Stars over the next week or so, is what they said. Week-ish. Generally when someone goes down to the AHL for a conditioning stint or something like that, that generally means what, Christian? What does it mean?
Day's gonna play soon.
Right. So, given that, what is the goaltending crease situation going to look like? If assuming Bishop is good to go in a week.
Yeah,
I mean, we all know what's going to happen, but is it really going to happen?
I will admit, there is an because it gives the chance for management to make a mistake. And we will definitely see what mistake they make probably by the end of next week. So if Bishop comes back...
That's exactly what I meant by by the way.
Yeah, giving management the chance to make a mistake. So if Bishop comes back, that means we're in cap trouble, so we got to get rid of somebody. The obvious answer to who we get rid of is Hudobin. Whether that's trade, maybe we make a Malcolm Subban trade and we trade him for future considerations, which means nothing.
That player gets traded around quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Or we just waive him and see what happens there. But even then, we're still a couple $100,000 over the cap. So then you either have to send down Tanner Caro. You have to send down... Who was the other one? I think it was Peterson you could send down.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is Ottinger. And most likely they're going to send down Ottinger, because if you keep Ottinger, then you're not going to have a backup forward, or you're not going to have a backup defenseman.
And
if you send down a defenseman.
That is the big that I was talking about, because that just seems like the logical decision to make. Whether you're Jim Nill or you're just a super fan of the Stars looking at their cap situation. So is that what we can expect to see from the Stars? Is that the decision they're going to make?
That is what I expect, because Jim Nill does the most predictable things ever.
Not exactly. He signed Braden Holtby, and I didn't see that coming.
Well,
when it comes to moves like this, I
yeah.
Yes, okay, I can get that. Okay, sorry.
But what I want to happen is a very rash decision, and probably a horrible decision, really. And that is to trade Holtby and keep Ottinger. So you get rid of Hudobin.
Nope.
You trade Holtby when his trade value is at its highest to a team that really needs a goalie and who is pushing for a cup, and you get back, I don't know, second rounder, and then you ride Bishop and Ottinger all the way. The big risk there is that Bishop gets injured all the time, like we've seen.
Right.
And also we don't know if he's actually good enough to go. So
yeah, and again, this is all on the precipitous that it's going to happen. I know it's a fancy word. You should go look it up. It's a word. It's a word, yeah. But again, that's all assuming that's going to happen. That he's going to be healthy, he's going to come back, and he's going to play. Which,
yeah,
all Stars fans everywhere are saying, nah, he's we don't see it.
I don't see it either. But the issue is you have to give him a chance before you can say no. And the only way to give him a chance...
what this guy can do. The only way
you can give him a chance is to send down Ottinger. That's the easiest way to give him a chance. The other thing I can see happening is that they do take the risk that no one gets injured, and they send down a defenseman or they send down a forward, and we just say, hope for the best. And we'll see. That's also not a great decision in the world of COVID, and when we're going through a sickness still too, because guys could be out for just single games, and you're really handicapping yourself for that game if that happens. But I hope the probable thing that might happen that I hope happens is that, and that we just roll the dice and hope that people don't get injured or too sick to play.
I mean, can you see and understand why I said this is a good and a bad Because it's a bad for Ottinger, and it would really suck for him. He hasn't lost a game yet, and we're talking about him getting sent down to the AHL as a possibility.
And that's why I don't think you can send him down until Bishop has actually played a few games too. Because it's like, if you send him down right now, like, you're killing whatever fire he had. But if you leave him and, like, you scratch Holtby for a game whenever Bishop comes into play and we're trying out Bishop, then at least he's staying in the NHL. I don't know. It's just a weird situation when you literally have 4 NHL caliber goalies on your roster.
Right.
Who could have predicted that this would be an issue going into the season?
Oh, no, nobody.
Gee, I wonder.
So obviously they're not, and the other solution they could do is they could just go with a 3 goaltender set. But
That's what I was saying.
but you just said for a short term.
Yeah.
Some people
For a
have
long
suggested
term,
this
that's
as a
crazy.
long, right, exactly, and that was what I was going to get into. For a long-term solution, that's not a solution, because
if you're taking 3 goalies into the playoffs, you're insane. And when you get into the playoffs, we have to have one guy who is definitely the best, and we ride him. That's forever the best scenario going into the playoffs. That's how teams win the Stanley Cup, is their goaltender gets hot and they take them all the way to the cup. I mean, that's happened to Vasilevsky the past 2 seasons.
Well, and to mention Dobby for us,
and Dobby for us, exactly.
We didn't win the cup, but he was a huge reason why we even made the finals.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's how playoffs are going to go. So when we get to the playoffs, we definitely can't have 3 goalies on the roster. So that's just crazy. And for the entire season, you can't expect not a forward / defenseman, whatever you take down, to get injured. That's pretty crazy.
It just really sucks because Ottinger has been so great for this Dallas Stars team, and ever since he was called up, I think it might have been a slight bit of coincidence, but also he's played really well, that the Stars just went off, and they've gone off since he's been on the NHL roster.
That's why I'm saying trade Holtby. I mean, Holtby has been good, especially recently, but he had that stint where he was playing bad. That was maybe partially due to an injury. Right now, he's playing good again. He'll have high trade value on the market because there's a couple teams that are really good with really bad goaltending. You can look at Pittsburgh. That's a huge one right there. They would pay a pretty penny for Holtby.
I still think Edmonton would be.
Edmonton was another good one. Scary to give it to the same conference, though. Colorado's another one. Again, scary to give it to even the same division.
That's true. That is a good point with Colorado, because they're on their 3rd string goaltender right now because Kemper and Francois are both out.
It's a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams that are really good who are looking to make deep playoff runs who don't have a solid net right now. And
over here we have 3.
We're about to have 4.
Yeah.
I mean, Hudobin is still a decent goaltender. His numbers this year aren't terrible. They're not good, but he's still a valid NHL goaltender. So we could definitely get something on the market for Holtby.
I just don't like the idea because
it's dangerous. It's a terrible idea.
That's risky and dangerous, and I would hate that.
I'd hate Ottinger going to the AHL more.
I don't, and I hate to say that, but I don't.
Holtby's not the future of the team. He's on a 1-year deal. He's not staying next year.
That's exactly the point, though, is that if you are going to go for the Stanley Cup right now, which is what the Stars are doing.
4 goaltenders. Scratch 2 of them, play 2 of them, flip them out fully each game. And if someone gets hurt,
they can even split the time during the game. Half can play the game, one part of the game, and then the other goaltender can play the other half.
Just keep them on the bench. Just take off the 3rd defensive pairing.
Yeah. We saw Hudobin taking point shots in practice. He was taking point
make
shots.
it play forward.
He can play forward. How about that? And just in case, he can play the 3rd period goaltender.
Yeah.
Is that even legal? I don't even think you could do that.
I think it is.
I think you can, actually, now that I think about it.
That should be fine.
Yeah, that should be good. So anyways, that's a lot of talking around the Dallas Stars right now is, what's going to happen with the crease. I still think Ottinger goes to AHL. It sucks for him, but it's the most logical thing to happen if Bishop is ready to go. Because if you want, do you take Bishop or do you take Ottinger? And we say that because of recency bias, though. You have to remember what Ben Bishop has done for this team. He was a Vezina runner-up, before he got hurt. So I know he's been hurt for a long time and stuff like that, but he's still a Vezina caliber goaltender.
Well, we don't know if he is. That's the big question mark. Is he still a Vezina caliber goaltender when he's got the injury? We'll see.
That's a good point. So, anyways, guys, is there anything specific that you guys wanted to talk about in this game other than just the whole goaltending situation? What's going to happen?
Well, one thing we didn't talk about as much as we should have probably is Jamie Benn. His play recently, and especially tonight, has been great. The past couple of games, he's made his presence known just with physicality. He still continues to win an obscene amount of faceoffs every single game. What was he at tonight? Oh, no, he didn't. Tonight, he had 36. He sucked. Come on, Jamie, play better, you terrible, terrible human.
Yeah, fifth off face-off percentage in the league. So
yeah, but he's fit. Yeah,
that's crazy.
I meant the earlier games when he did score. Y'all knew what I meant. He's fifth in the league on face-offs, and he wasn't even a center last year for most of the time. And he finally gets rewarded with 2 goals today. Hopefully, that can get that line going. That way, we don't have to rely on the Minutemen for all of our goals. But
yeah, please, no, seriously.
Yeah. Great play by that line, and hopefully that'll help us keep our win streak going and gets us to 8 against Vegas.
So, the other thing I wanted to look at was, for a while, I was really scared that the special teams were going to be an issue in a Stars loss tonight, just because, one, we weren't taking advantage of the power play whatsoever, and especially in those first 3, they didn't. The third one looked okay, but the first 2, I just did not like the way that they did. And even in the fourth one, I understand they were being patient and everything, but they got lucky that it was even a power play goal. It almost wasn't because there was only 3 seconds left.
It was a good power play, though. It was obviously the best one of the night.
Yes, but I thought they just suffered from a little bit of overpassitis on not just their power play, but just overall on tonight's game. There was just a lot of overpassing and not taking shots.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, especially with only having 15 shots through 2 periods.
Right. And one other thing that I specifically wanted to mention was the amount of turnovers in this game. And, offensive turnovers and defensive turnovers. There were points in the game where we would have a rush going the opposite way. It'd be an opportunity for us to get a good scoring chance or score a goal, and then it would just kind of go nowhere. And that was a little bit frustrating for me tonight, and that was especially in the first 2 periods. And then there were just some ill-advised plays in our own defensive zone that when we turned over the puck that wasn't fantastic either. What did y'all think of turnovers in tonight's game? Anything you noticed in particular?
Yeah, especially in the second period, it was bad. And also through the neutral zone, too, is what I noticed a lot of. And that's what we've been doing really well recently, has been moving through the neutral zone quickly, and that's how we're getting those rush chances and avoiding the dump-ins and stuff. And that wasn't very good tonight. Even in the third period, we didn't really get it going. We just kind of dumped it in and out-muscled the Coyotes in the third. I think that's a good reason why the bigger line was scoring goals, too, in the third. But yeah, I'm sure we'll get that figured out going into the next game. I think a 3-day break starting on a Monday and playing against the worst team in the league had a big effect on stuff like that.
Yeah, and sometimes when you play games like this against the lower teams, sometimes you play down to their level, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
right?
And we definitely did
happens.
in the first 2 periods.
We definitely did in tonight's game.
But credit to them in the third period. We turned it on when we had to. We completely destroyed them like we should have all game long and took care of business. Got the 2 points.
And, the other thing that we didn't notice in tonight's game was the fact that we didn't see as many face-off wins as we have in the past. And, it was a little bit more even than we've seen in the past couple of games, and I thought that was a little strange, especially against a not good Arizona Coyotes team. And just to give you the percentages tonight, it was 52.7 for the Stars and 47.3 for the Arizona Coyotes. So that's pretty even, which for the Stars, that's not a good thing. 52%, 53%, whatever.
Yeah.
That's not what we want, and that's not how we've found a recipe for success against these teams on this win streak.
I'm so happy that that's bad though, because last season we were getting destroyed in the dot. It was 60-40, and we were like, we had an okay night on the face-off dot. But I'm so happy about the complete turnaround that we've had on the dot. It's been amazing. I love it.
Yeah. Well, and to kind of close it up tonight, we complain about all these things, and the Stars didn't have a fantastic game overall, and the face-offs wasn't great, and the power play didn't really take advantage as much as we wanted to. We still won the game, and
took care of business. Second line was great. Business.
Holtby,
great.
8 in a row, which ties the franchise record.
No, that was 7 in a row.
Well, 7 in a row overall, but 8 in a row at home, and that ties a franchise record at home. So if we get one more, which we're not going to be at home for a while for the rest of the week. If we get one more, that becomes the franchise record, which
That's
is
one thing
really
we
great.
didn't talk about. Tough week coming up for the Stars. Great week for the fans. We got a lot of hockey to watch, but Stars have got to find a way to get out of here with a good amount of points. Hopefully we keep the winning streak going. Not very likely.
But we'll see. So let's talk about let's just mention the upcoming schedule for the Dallas Stars, because like we mentioned, this is going to be fairly rough for us. On Wednesday at 9 o'clock, that's going to be a late game, guys. We're in Vegas. On Thursday, we're against the LA Kings, so that's a rare back-to-back that we haven't had. Oh, actually, we had the back-to-back against Arizona recently. So
we had one.
But it wasn't like a long distance travel or anything like that. So anyway, we're against LA on Thursday. We're off Friday, and then we turn right around against San Jose on Saturday. All of these games are 9 o'clock or later. So we'll be up with you guys. Hopefully you'll join us then. Anything to look forward to from those 3 games, guys? Because, it seemed like at the beginning of the year that the California teams were not going to be all that great. But, specifically Anaheim has looked really good, and the other two teams, and the other 2 teams are doing decent, despite what we were expecting. So this is not going to be an easy road trip for the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, they're very beatable teams. They're teams that the Stars, if you just go into it with no surrounding schedule, you think we should win, and hopefully we're gonna have to play our best against these teams to win, and we're gonna have to do it 3 times in a row in a very short period of time, and that's what makes it difficult.
Yeah, and it's gonna be it's not just the week that's gonna be hard. In the next 2 or 3 weeks, we have 3 back-to-backs.
It's the whole month, and we talked about that last game too.
This month is going to be the hardest month for the Stars. A lot of away games, a lot of back-to-backs. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, my mantra for the month is minimize damage. Scrape out points. Overtime losses are good. Let's get some points.
Yep, because after this West Coast road trip, the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games are against Central Division opponents, which that seems like a lot, kind of clumped in together. And if we can keep playing the way we are, we can start to gain on Minnesota and then maybe push a little bit of distance between us and the rest of the division. On the flip side, it can also mean the exact opposite, where we get pushed down in the division. So this upcoming month for the Dallas Stars is very critical for our success in the playoffs.
And that's also something that we haven't mentioned. Right now, there are 4 people tied for second into the division. There are 4 teams with 28 points and 1 with 27. There are 5 teams in the hunt for 2 spots right now. And this is probably going to be the month where it's decided, honestly.
That's what we thought was going to happen.
Yep. Can we bring that back? what do they used to call the Central Division? The Death Division or something like that. I'll have to look it up. A couple of years ago, they called it when all the Central Division teams were like the best teams in the NHL. But anyways, it's gonna be important, guys. So, anything else? We good?
Yeah,
I
we
think
had a
we're
lot
good.
of last minute topics.
Yeah, it was, and we went on for like another like 10 minutes. So, anyways, guys, we're gonna go ahead and sign off here tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in on the live stream here tonight, or whether you're listening on the podcast side the next morning. We appreciate you guys listening. Make sure you use the promo code THPN once again when you go and use the DraftKings app. Thank you, DraftKings, for sponsoring the Hockey Podcast Network and Starcaster Remarks. We really appreciate it. And James, next game is against Vegas, like we mentioned. It is on TNT, so it's going to be our first showing of Biz Nasty and the great one himself, Wayne Gretzky. So we'll see how that goes, and I'm sure this is going to be fun. We'll see how that TNT broadcast goes.
We'll pay a lot of attention to intermissions.
Right, we actually will pay attention. So, anyways, guys, we'll catch you guys on the flip side. We hope you guys have a good and fantastic morning, evening, whatever.